Hey friends, we wanted to sneak in one more video before the end of the year, and that is our yearly recap.
This has been a year of soaring highs and crushing lows, of huge milestones and devastating losses.
As we're putting this video together, it is hard to believe that all you're about to see happened in 1 year alone.
Whoa. Hey, what was your favorite thing we did on the homestead this year?
Berm and Swale.
Outdoor living space.
The airport. All the baby goats.
Now, before we get to everything we did and everything we learned this last year, we just wanted to say thank you so much for all of you who have watched and subscribed and liked and commented and shared and done all the things, because we could not do this without you. So thank you so much.
So, how did 2022 start?
Well, it started with a problem. Our Shelter Logic feed shed, the opening ripped during the wind. So we had to figure out a way to replace it, and we built some wooden barn doors, which is really nice for getting into it and making it more permanent. So what did we learn when we did that?
Well, we learned that while the barn doors are nice and work great, it doesn't necessarily fix the entire problem.
Nope, the rest of the cover was still going to rip off. The other zippers would break. So eventually we would need to rethink this whole project from scratch. But we'll get to that later. First part of the year, we were right in the middle of our earthbag chicken garden project, which we had started back in the fall of 2021.
And I foolishly thought, hey, it's going to be done in the spring.
It wasn't.
No.
By this point, we were about halfway up just on the inside circle alone.
Yeah, and we were getting ready to start our bottle bricks, our bucket windows, and the coop.
Sometimes when I dream, at times when I just close my eyes, I see the place we used to live. Gaze up at the sky and I look for a familiar face. I try to find my way back home. Could have sworn it was real, but with time started doubting myself. I play it on repeat, I would do anything just to turn back time. Memories are faded in the sun. I just wanna feel like when we were young, when we didn't need play it on repeat, I would do anything just to turn back time.
So what did we learn during this phase of the chicken garden?
Well, as beautiful as those bottle mountains are, they were way too much work.
They were a lot of work. Also, we were playing around with putting bottles just sort of in between the layers of the bags at sort of random spots, and we ended up breaking a decent amount of them.
Yeah. So maybe you remember this whole project was more practice for when we come to build our house. And we were just experimenting with different ways to incorporate bottles because we know for sure we want bottles all over the house.
Right. So what we decided from all this is that bottles will be inside of a frame, like they should have probably been from the beginning. But, sometimes you just got to try stuff to make sure you know.
Sometimes you just have to fail and figure it out later. This is also the year we finally took a leap on one of our long-term plans.
Yes, working with local design specialist Rudy Poe, he helped us plan and design everything on our property, mapping out berms and swales, water catchment calculations, and more.
These plans will guide us as we continue to build out the rest of our homestead, and this will not be the last time you see Rudy Poe. More on that in a bit.
In the middle of all this, behind the scenes, I was also working on a big, nerdy breakdown of how we installed the solar system in our solar shed. All the solar panels, the inverter, the charge controllers. This took months of writing and researching and filming and making custom illustrations, but it did allow us to make our first homestead product, a detailed wiring diagram of the whole thing. A few weeks later, we put out an exhaustive cost breakdown of the solar system with links to everything and even more details and information.
So, what did we learn here, dear?
That going the extra mile in creating these deep educational resources is a ton of work, but it's amazing to see just how many thousands of people have watched it, and we know that it's helped them to create their own solar system.
After that, the earthbag chicken garden process continued.
We focused our attention on the massive 42-foot diameter circle, building screened openings, and laying so much bag.
Oceans and oceans, paper submarines. Motions and motions, blissful hurricane, swelling through me. Oceans and oceans, blue, black, and green. Motions to motions, even with the ship, I'm still drowning. What am I gonna do with all these feelings? Even when the moon cries, leaving us alone, lights fading now. Even when the sun shines, or when we got no way out. Love runs dry, I will not leave your side. Oceans and oceans, welling up in me. Motions and motions, learning how to dance. I'm still drowning. What am I gonna do with all these feelings? Even when the moon cries, leaving us alone, lights fading now. Even when the sun shines, or when we got no way out.
We also learned that we may have built that chicken garden a little too big.
We also learned that you should wear safety glasses on a regular basis.
I thought you were going to say that part.
Oh, totally. We're talking about your eye injuries because there was multiple and they all happened right after each other. And it wasn't good.
Okay.
But now we know. Moving on.
In April, I got super frustrated with our laundromat situation, and we had decided to invest in a hand washer from Lehman's. This allowed us to be able to do all of our laundry here on the homestead, and we didn't have to build a new structure to put a washing machine in.
Nice. Also, this was a surprise hit video for us.
Yeah.
Lots of people watched it. Lots of people shared stories about doing laundry the same way with their parents and even with their grandparents. And also lots of people thought we were nuts.
Yep.
Welcome to the internet.
And we have learned that while that washer is great, there are certain times of the year here in Arizona where it just doesn't make sense. And we kind of have to supplement with the laundromat.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. It's too cold in the winter to dry the clothes outside.
And sometimes in the summer, it's too hot because I'm out here in the open getting blasted with 95-degree weather at 9 o'clock in the morning.
It's no good. It's like you got to start washing at like 4:30 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
And nobody wants to be up at 4:30 in the morning doing laundry.
But now that we moved the deep freeze away from the solar shed, I have that whole covered area that I can do laundry all year round.
Nice.
Except for in the winter when it's freezing cold and I can't handle the cold on my hands.
Nice. The next step on the chicken garden was to build the roof on the coop. Now you may remember that Ashley's dad came and helped us plan and design the roof on the solar shed, which is super helpful and we learned a lot, but this time we were on our own.
We were definitely stressed out about doing this job ourselves, but we just rolled up our sleeves and we got the job done. So, what did we learn?
Well, we learned that all this work of trying to be more self-sufficient and learning how to do things on our own was finally starting to pay off. It was a small roof, but it felt like a big deal. It was a small roof, but it felt like a big deal. It was a small roof, but it felt like a big deal.
With the roof done, it was time to focus on putting our base coat plaster and covering up all the red bags. It took a long time.
Feeling a little overwhelmed with our base plaster situation, we decided to call in reinforcements.
We held our first ever Tiny Shiny workshop day in May of 2022.
15 of our viewers flew and drove into Cochise County and they helped us plaster, they hung out and ate food, and helped us make huge progress on the chicken garden. hope to do at least one of these each year, so if you're interested, get on the list at tinyshinyhome.com/meetup to be notified.
Believe it or not, in the middle of that chicken garden build, we were also in the middle of a very important project.
Yeah, remember when our Shelter Logic garage in a box tents had ripped and we tried to rebuild the front of one of them? Well, the winds came through and ripped the whole cover off, and so now we had a huge situation. We had both our garage and our feed shed that were not protected, and we had to sort of pause everything and decide what we were going to do with it.
We decided to go ahead and keep the metal frame of the structure and just re-engineer everything else.
Yep, we did those wooden barn doors on the front, earthbag walls on the back, metal roofing panels over the top, and we even put little solar systems in each one.
I was going to say that, but you did. That's fine.
Would you hold me if I told you we can just run away? So come, my darling, let me help you. We can follow the sun and leave the rain for somebody else. Let's help ourselves, leave our troubles on the shelf. Don't you worry, we're gonna find all we need in our sunset paradise. All the sidewalks and the highways, they will turn into dust as Mother Nature covers over every street we take and lead the way for somebody else to help themselves, leave their troubles on the shelf. So don't you worry, we're gonna find all we need in our sunset paradise. Hey. Leave it all for somebody else to help themselves, leave their troubles upon the shelf. And don't you worry, we're gonna find all we need in our sunset paradise.
These actually turned out way better than I even imagined, and it's just really nice to know it's not going to blow away, and all of our stuff is protected.
Yes, it's great when a storm comes through, you're not like mentally worried, like, oh, what's going to happen this time?
Is this the storm that takes everything?
Is this going to be the one? No, I'm pretty proud of us because I think this is the first thing we really did where we just went for it. We just had all these crazy ideas and we mashed them all together and it totally worked and it saved us a bunch of money. And now we have more permanent storage solutions.
Do I still wish we had a shipping container? Yes, I do.
Well, yeah, one day.
But these are a great temporary solution, and all of the materials can be repurposed at a later date. At the start of the monsoon season, we finally got our first rainwater catchment set up on the chicken garden roof.
So rainwater catchment had been like one of our big priorities from day one when we moved out here. But due to like budgeting for the tanks and just lack of roofs, we hadn't been able to catch any water. So this felt like a really big first step.
And it felt even better when that tank filled up within the first 2 rains.
I can't explain the many ways how your love became my fate. whispering wind, the spring is gone. Summer rain comes down. Let's dance to the sound that drops to the ground. All we need is our love. That bright sun is overrated in the sky that we are.
We learned that while we wanted to do this sooner, there's really only so much you can do when you're building raw land from scratch.
Now that we have our first catchment set up, this is just the beginning.
The spring and summer of 2022 were so busy. We were still working on the chicken garden, we were rebuilding those Shelter Logic tents, and we were in the middle of planning our first big permaculture project, the main Berm and Swale that would run through the property.
We brought Rudy Poe back and he helped us plot the location of our Berm and Swale and calculate the height, width, and depth.
The reason that this particular Berm and Swale was so important is that it would help determine the location of our house, so lots of planning and thought went into this.
On top of the planning and digging, we were also creating our Tiny Shiny Tree Collective. This would allow you to sponsor trees that we would then plant on our berm. Then we were able to work with our local community to help get them all planted.
Thank you so much to all of you who sponsored trees and to those who volunteered and helped us get all those trees planted.
This year also happened to bring in some of the most insane monsoon rains that we've ever seen.
Yes, over the summer, we got more rain just during that time than we usually get for the entire year.
It was a little crazy.
It was a lot. This really put our Berm and Swale to the test, and we're happy to report that it did exactly what it was supposed to.
As much as we want to be self-reliant out here, this project really taught us the value of relying on others' expertise and help.
We could have never done this by ourselves, and the video we were able to make showing the whole process has been seen by so many people. We hope that we're helping to get the word out about this amazing alternative to heal our desert lands. Now, back to that historic monsoon season, we were seeing multiple 100-year rain events, all happening one right after the other. This monsoon season was crazy, and it started causing problems with the earthen plaster on our hyperadobe solar shed office. We got sideways hail going like 50 miles an hour, punched holes in it, water got behind it, and then an entire section just started peeling off.
Yeah, and once we saw that, that made us reevaluate all the plaster that was going to happen on the chicken garden. We did a ton of testing and all had the same results. We had lots of cracking, hollow spots, and it was peeling off.
At this point, we were kind of at a loss, and the weather wasn't really cooperating for plaster work anyway, so we decided to shift gears and start working on the pump house for the chicken garden.
While this was a fun little side project, we have both decided that building a pump house out of earthbags just is not going to happen ever again. It was way too much work, way too complicated, and it made the roof incredibly ridiculous.
Incredibly.
So big.
But we did get a little solar system set up. We got lights in the coop. We did get the water pump set up. And so we did learn a lot about what not to do on the next one. Now, the solar shed wasn't the only thing that the monsoons messed up. It was a crazy year. All those rains made everything grow. It made things erode. We had all sorts of stuff that we had to clean up. We had to trim grass around the fence line. We had to pull up weeds that were causing allergies. We had stuff that was messed up in the swale. We had to check our drip irrigation.
It was a lot of work, and it was hot and miserable. But we needed to get it done because we needed to concentrate on our next major project here on the homestead.
Unfortunately, this is where tragedy struck. Our beloved wonder dog, 99, was hit by a car in a freak accident. He was our first true family pet here on the homestead, and we all loved him so much. He was always outside helping us work, digging in the dirt, and stealing our gloves. And just like that, he was gone. The next couple of weeks were tough. We weren't sure how to move forward, how to let people know what had happened, or what we'd even say when we came back. Also, this had become our job, and we couldn't just stop making videos for a couple of months. On top of that, we were right on the cusp of hitting 100,000 subscribers, and we had gotten a puppy to celebrate to be 99's brother. It was a milestone we were all looking forward to, and then everything came crashing down at once. We were finally able to put together a video remembering 9, and then another video introducing his brother Ocho. But there are still times when we see an old clip of him, our gloves sitting in the middle of the yard, and it all comes flooding back. Thankfully, Ocho has been keeping us very busy and giving us lots of puppy snuggles to help us make it through.
Do you want him to sit? I don't. It's just so cute.
He's definitely got his own personality and is bringing lots of antics to the homestead.
He drinks so much water.
He lives for food. All food, fingers included.
He always looks like he's smiling.
He only barks whenever he wants something.
His favorite way to sleep is to shove his face in our shoes.
Chicken poop is his favorite.
Leave it. Ocho.
Ocho, no! No poops! Gross! Ocho, what are you eating? Leave it! Yuck! Ew!
He chews on everything.
And finally, he loves to give us kisses. and then tries to bite us. Take a look.
Hi, bud.
Look at his legs.
As summer turned into fall, we were already busy planning our biggest, most complicated, and most expensive project here on the homestead, moving our Airstream to its final resting place.
This would involve coordinating with multiple other companies, renting equipment, and building in a way that we had never built before. Not to mention setting up water and power and septic for it as well.
It was also one of the fastest projects we've ever done here on the homestead, clocking in at just over 2 months. But the building did go up in just a week.
Which is ridiculously fast considering our previous track records. We worked with Miracle Trust to design a custom metal frame carport, and then we went about adding our own rainwater catchment, building another pump house, adding AC power, and even a gray water septic. learned so much during this project, building in a way we'd never built before, having to organize with multiple companies and deliveries to make things happen. It definitely gave us a little bit more confidence as we start to think about our house build and what we can actually do ourselves.
Moving the Airstream was a huge step because, number one, it meant that the Airstream is now permanently in its spot.
Which is a little sad.
It's not moving.
But it's good.
Yeah, because now we have room to build our house.
Exactly.
With our tiny shiny home all nestled into its permanent resting spot, there's still a few things that needed to happen around the homestead.
Yeah, so the first step was to build a new goat shelter because 2 of our mamas were about to have kids. Faye and Bailey did both have twins, but unfortunately most of them were buckling, so it doesn't look like we're going to keep them. As with any homestead, often new life and the end of life end up overlapping. The meat birds we've been running for the last 2 months finally came due for harvesting, and this was the first time we were actually able to process them here on our property. We had all the new stuff set up at the airport. We were able to do everything right there and even put them in the deep freeze.
And with the monsoons finally finished, it was time to trim up the grasses and trees around the airport and the solar shed.
Turns out it cleans up pretty good.
Warm nights, long drives, nothing here but moonlight. Raindrops on the red dust. It's never smelled so good. Lay by my side, keep your eyes wide. Watch all those shooting stars fly. Almost after midnight, hold my head tight. We're so alive, just like fireflies in the shelter. All we need is love. All we need is love in the shelter.
We learned through all these small projects that sometimes you need to pause on the big projects and take care of all those little things that start to build up over time, because you're running into these issues constantly and you're just putting them off, and it really starts to drive you crazy.
Yeah, it really felt like we were cleaning the slate and getting ready for 2023.
Speaking of clearing the slate, one of the last projects of the year was to repurpose the old water tank, move it up to the solar shed, and catch water off of that roof.
This involved disassembling the old pump house, emptying the water tank and moving it up here, installing gutters, and building a new, smaller version of the pump house.
Pump house number 4.
Make me work make me sweat inside, make me feel like I'm alive. Take this hurt, lady, throw it in my face. Don't let these bones slow you down. 'Cause I'm coming on strong. The grass should have looked greener. I need a true believer in disguise. If I'm loving you wrong, short-changing and receiving, girl, you best believe in me behind. 'Cause I'm over easy tonight. State the truth, spit it out, I'm waiting. Don't leave me contemplating my own life. 'Cause I'm coming on strong. The grass should have looked greener. I need a true believer in disguise. If I'm loving you wrong, short-changing and receiving, girl, you best believe in me behind. 'Cause I'm over easy tonight. Oh, oh, hey. Oh, oh, hey. Oh, oh, hey. Yeah, 'cause I'm over easy tonight. Cause I'm coming up strong. The grass should have looked greener. I need a true believer in disguise. If I'm loving you wrong, short-changing and receiving, girl, you best believe in me behind. 'Cause I'm over easy. I'm over easy. And I'm over easy tonight.
Again, we learned that all these risks we had taken the last 2.5 years, like learning to build things on our own, coming up with these crazy ideas, it was all starting to pay off.
Yeah, what probably would have taken us a week last year only took a few days, and that was just mostly waiting on the snow to dry out.
Yeah, and also, snow in the desert is awesome.
Earlier, we mentioned that making videos had become our job, and we just wanted to come back to that for just a minute. Between finally making the jump to Tiny Shiny Home full-time and hitting 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, this has been a huge milestone year for our family.
Making a career change in your 40s is tough
And scary.
and crazy. And even though you know we've been working our butts off to make this happen, we have to let you know that there's no way we could have done this without you. And YouTube is really only part of that story. There's our Tiny Shiny Homies who support us each month. There's the educational products we sell, the affiliate relationships we have, and even those of you who send us gift cards to Talking Irons and just notes of encouragement to help us make it through.
Every little bit has helped us be able to continue sharing our journey with you, and we are so thankful that you are part of our community.
You are the reason why I love you.
So, now that we've taken a look back at 2022, what is up for 2023?
Well, it's kind of funny because it's the same goal as it was in 2022.
Chicken garden and house.
Yeah. We really thought that we would have the chicken garden done last spring,
We sure did.
and here we are. But we are on the right path.
We also got a little distracted.
Yeah.
We had a lot of other projects that happened during the year, so I'm
Yeah.
okay with it.
Yeah, it's not like we just quit the chicken garden. We
Yeah.
did have a lot of other things going on, babe.
It's true.
Yeah, so we need to finish the chicken garden, plaster, we need to do the roost in the coop, we need to build doors and gates, and then that project will be wrapped up.
But I think let's talk about our plaster situation.
Yeah.
So in light of all this, the plastering and the issues, we have been doing a lot of research and talking to some people like My Little Homestead, and it looks like we're going to go with stucco for the final application.
But the problem is that the temperature is so cold that we can't really apply it right now.
We're going to have to wait a little bit for sure. So we need to stucco the chicken garden.
Yeah.
And then
In the shed.
we got to fix the shed, all the stuff that fell off. We got to restucco that.
Now, we're only going to do the two sides that are messed up. It's the west side and the south side.
Yeah.
We're going to leave the rest and just kind of see how it goes over the next few years and like compare and contrast the stucco versus the earth and plaster. Once the chicken garden is done and the solar shed is all buttoned up, we're going to focus all of our attention to our house.
Yes, behind the scenes, we are doing a lot of planning and trying to figure out where things are going to go, but we have to break ground this year. It's got to happen.
We are all ready for a lot more space. We've been living tiny for 7 years, and it's 7 years too long.
The kids keep growing, the dogs keep growing. It's a problem.
If you want to continue following our adventures, just make sure you're subscribed and hit the little notification bell so that you'll be notified when the next video comes out.
And if you want to help us keep doing this, check out Tiny Shiny Homies for early video access, weekend updates, maybe grab a sticker or a t-shirt. Otherwise, just keep watching and we'll keep showing up.
We'll see you in 2023.